Hello, Michelle. Delighted to be having, I think it's about a fourth or fifth chat with you, I think. Yourself and Steve Evans
Certainly.
here.
You're not sticking me yet, no.
No, not yet.
No, it's really refreshing and fun talking to you because you're mad, really, aren't you? You know,
Oh yeah, absolutely.
in, a,
Box of frogs.
in a good way. That's what I mean. Mad as a box of frogs. Yeah. So I was Bonnie, Scotland, because last
Oh,
time we were talking, we talked about snow, and
Yeah.
so how did
I
it go?
know, yeah. Now look at it. We've got the sun cracking the flags. So Scotland was amazing. We went up to John O'Groats, and let me tell you, I think it was about 2 degrees. It was freezing up there.
Wow.
Yeah, and I'd wanted to get a boat over to the Orkney Islands, and because of the swell and and they had like a storm going on, that wasn't going to happen. But apart from that, and the gearbox going, the Scotland was lovely, absolutely lovely. And I ended up driving around in a brand new Corsa, and let me tell you, I much preferred it. Now I'm going to look and buy myself one.
My Albert last one was a Corsa, and it was like a little van. I got a running machine in the Corsa. You wouldn't believe it. It was
Did you?
about, honest to God, yeah, my wife
Yeah,
didn't use it. It sat in the, gathered dust for 3 months in the back room. But I don't know how the hell I got it in. It looked longer than the Corsa to me, but somehow fitted it in.
yeah, yeah.
Big cars.
We all the luggage that took up the whole car, the whole Peugeot on the way there,
Yeah,
fitted in the boot of the
yeah,
Corsa on
yeah.
the way back.
Like a
So yeah,
TARDIS.
yeah, definitely
Brilliant.
falling in love with
Brilliant.
the Corsa. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
There you are. I've just given an advert to Vauxhall, haven't I? I think
you
you should
have.
pay me.
You have.
Right, so we're going to go on to my current review.
Yep.
Yeah,
So
let's go for it.
it's still on my Twitter because, as you know, when you're away, you read lots and lots and lots. So I did, and I have been reading The Night Porter by. I want to make sure I get his name right. Hang on a minute. By Dave Blackwell.
Oh.
I'm terrible, but yeah. So I've reading The Night Porter by Dave Blackwell, and let me tell you, anybody who has worked in the hotel industry is going to resonate with this book.
Hmm.
It's an anecdotal, sometimes poignant account of what the customers and staff get up to in hotels.
Oh, cool.
So let me tell you, yeah, very funny in places. But Andy, the main character, has got a disability. He's deaf. Anecdotal, but Dave, the main character Andy, has hearing loss, major hearing loss. Now, during the winter, I get glue and I can't hear in my left ear. So while I can't resonate with him on the full level of what it is like to be deaf, I can definitely resonate with him on what it's like, the way people treat you when you can't hear properly. I think that I can't speak from a point of view of being blind, but I think there's a certain amount of sympathy that is given to blind people that isn't given to people who are hard of hearing. And it's kind of like, I know that in the winter, as I said, I've only got 40% hearing in my left ear anyway. That like practically goes. So anybody who's sort of like that side of me, I can't hear. And I will say to them, like, can you not cover your mouth? I can't hear you. And then they'll look at me like, what? And then I say, even though I can hear most words of conversation, some tones I don't hear at all. And it's kind of like, so I will lip read to pick up the rest of the conversation. So if somebody's got their mouth covered, I can't hear what they're saying. I will only catch the odd word of a sentence. So I can resonate with Andy on that score. And it is, people take the mick. And it's kind of like, if you say, please don't cover your mouth, I can't hear you, they will start doing that on purpose.
Oh.
And another one is when you say, I need to lip read you so that I can understand what you're saying. They start doing this. And it's
Exaggerated.
It is quite funny on the flip side of it when you can't hear them and suddenly you don't understand the word they're saying, and most of the time I just sit there and go
I completely
So,
understand. I have a similar problem, Michelle, with the tinnitus, and I just can't hear
yeah,
people, and I'm forever going, say that again, and in the end, I get fed up and embarrassed, so I just go, yeah, yeah, and
yeah,
then they ask me a question, and I go, yeah, and I'm stuffed then because I don't know what they've said.
spot on. Until I found out what it was, and I use warm olive oil now to ease that
Oh, is it
glue.
all right? Does it work?
Yeah, bye. Not so much with the tinnitus though, but it does ease.
Yeah,
It kind of like eases the pressure. The warmth eases the pressure of the glue ear, makes the glue go back a bit because you with glue ear, your ear fills with that glue to protect the ear canal and the eardrum from the cold. So that's why I get it. But yeah, they used to call me say again because that's all I used to say in work. Somebody would say something and I go say again.
yeah, that's me all over.
But it gets embarrassing, and in the end, you just sit there and go,
You do, don't you? Especially if you're out in company in a restaurant or in a pub or whatever. I'm just hopeless to just sit there like don't know what's going on half the time.
Have you noticed since you've had the tinnitus, since you've had the hearing problems, that when you now go out in a group of people, you are far more introverted? Whereas when you could hear them properly, you would contribute to the conversation, even if it was at the other end of the table. Now,
Yeah.
when I go out in a group of people, I'm just like, because I know
That's it.
that by the time I've said to them 1,000 times, say again, and I've caught up with the conversation, I'm being honest, I've got a bit of ADHD, and I have to go over a sentence. You know, if somebody says something to me, so I have a few problems. And yeah, so now when I'm out in a group of people, I just don't comment. There's no point because I can't understand, can't keep up with the conversation anyway.
I found as well,
Yeah,
you go to a pub where there's loud music on. I can't hear a word that's being said. In younger
That's
days,
it.
I used to love it, get the music
Yeah.
blasting, but now, turn it down.
I'm better in a small, intimate group, or it's quite quiet, and then I'll be chatting away like we are now, because I can carry on then and interact. But if it's noisy and too many people are talking at the same time, can't hear them. I just give up. No point.
No, exactly. And what makes me laugh in a way, because Andy has hit the nail on the head with being bullied because of his disability. And I think to myself, yeah, those people who took the mick out of me in the past, who take the mick out of hard of hearing people, what they seem to forget is that with old age comes deafness. They've got all this to come anyway. You know what? And I think that's going to be a bit of just desserts for some people, and especially the people who treated Andy badly in the book, because I know that the book is based on real experiences.
Okay, that's the Night Porter.
Yeah. I've got to say something here because I was pulled up. So I'm going to be honest. I got one tiny criticism, and only because somebody pulled me up on a previous review I did. So anyway, and I've had a word with Dave this morning, so that I can explain a little. The book is the version of the book that I have got is not edited.
Oh, okay.
And I'm not being funny. And the reason that I've never brought this up before, because with indie writers, and I've got a very good reason for this, is that we don't have access to like professional editors the way professional authors do. Yeah. And while, we've all got a good grasp on English. Anybody who sets out to write a book has got a good grasp on English. What they don't teach in schools is, and they don't teach it, is things like dialogue tags, tense. They only get taught that kind of stuff at university level. So I had a quick word with Dave this morning. I did say to her, look, I'm going to mention, the fact that the book isn't edited because I've been pulled on it previously. And he said, yeah, he said, that's fine. He said, thank you for being honest. He said, but just to let you know, he says, at the beginning of May, I had the book edited.
Okay.
So he has. Now, I've got an earlier version. So can I say to anybody who has a beef with like dialogue tags, with tense, with spelling, with continuity, to invest in the later version. Okay, that's you know, and to everybody else, please bear in mind that indie authors don't have a team of editors going over the book and over the book and over the book and picking up on all these little nuances. Yeah, so please bear with them, because being an author, being a writer is a learning curve. So while I've got to be careful doing endorsements, I also want people to understand that when you read the likes of Stephen King, Martina Cole, J.R. Ward, they have got a team of expert executive editors working on their book.
We always ask that question, Michelle, you know, when we chat to a writer, has a second pair of eyes gone on it? If they've got somebody available to do that for them. But they haven't got the money, for one thing, as well, to pay a beta reader or a professional editor.
Do you know it's £20 per 1,000 words
What?
for a standard editor? For a standard editor.
So we could average books 70,000 words, so I can't make that
Yeah.
out, but a good few quid. Expensive.
Yeah, like 70 times by 20. Yeah.
1,400 quid.
Yeah.
A lot of money, though,
At
isn't it?
least.
Yeah.
At least. Now, I've got to say, I've been really lucky because a couple of my books have got to the point where they were very nearly published. And because they were at the point where they were very nearly published. So I don't know if anybody knows about the submission process. So what is you submit to an editor or to an agent, and they either take your book on or they don't. It's that simple. And I've had a fantastic executive editor called Nikki Richards almost take me on. Well, take me on a couple of times, but it never got beyond. It never got to the point where I got published. That by the by, she went through and she basically taught me how to edit. So I was taught everything about tense, about continuity, about dialogue tags, about show, not tell. So, you know, I've been very, very fortunate that I've had that amount of input twice over. So, you know, and not only did she help me, I mean, she would like edit the first 3 chapters, and then she'd say, right, I want you to go and see what I've done, and then edit the rest of your book to that level. So she taught me how to edit, basically. So I'm very fortunate because it didn't cost me anything to have an executive editor edit three chapters to about what 15,000 words. I was looking at a few bob. So yeah, so very very fortunate, and that isn't open to everybody. Isn't open to everybody, you know. So and I just want to say, indie writers, keep doing what you're doing because you're doing a good job.
Yeah, keeps you busy.
Yeah. What else then, Michelle? What else have you been reading?
Oh, I've been going through Stephen King like it's no tomorrow because, as you know, I tend to pick up an author and then I'll read every single bit that they've ever done. And I'm currently reading Stephen King. He was the love of my youth. Stephen King was, and so let's start with Rage. I don't know if you've
I've read that. Yeah.
Have yet? Yeah. Oh, what a book! Yeah. What a book! I'm just going to read my review out so you'll see where I'm coming from with this. Okay. I can't see that Charlie Decker was such an angry young man. I didn't see, you know, you see when somebody goes off the rails angry. I didn't see Charlie do that. He was definitely a product of his environment, you know, goes into why he was the way he was, you know, so Stephen King has covered those bases. Decker is an example of what is going on in America right now, even though Stephen King wrote this book 30 odd years ago. Yeah. I think most people in America can what's the word? Resonate?
Yeah,
with,
probably. Yeah, sounds about right.
Because, Charlie Decker goes into school and starts shooting people. That's the long and the short of the story of Rage. That Charlie listens to his classmates' tales certifies that Charlie is not a lunatic. He isn't, he is taking the time to understand where his other classmates are coming from. Even though these are the peers that have pushed him to where he is now with the gun in his hand in the classroom, he is taking his time to understand them. And now you're seeing not just Charlie Decker's point of view, but all the classmates' point of view as well, and what pushes their buttons. And I think what's really frightening is any one of them other students could be Charlie Decker.
Yeah.
That's what
Pushed to that point. Yeah.
That's what Stephen King's renowned for. He was one of the first, the best-selling writers of horror to bring you home. Traditionally, the horror stories, like your own, Michelle, the horror story, it's based as a vampire in a castle. Whereas with Stephen King, the stories like Salem's Lot, it's ordinary people in the average household, and then very bad things happen. But it brings it home to the reader. They could live, it could be them, could be next door neighbour.
Yeah. Very true. Scary.
And
I
think any parent who sends their child to school in America must feel that.
They're vulnerable, aren't they?
Yeah. And it's like, I guess what the scary part of the story is that apart from the fact that America makes it far too easy for this to happen with frightening regularity, and it does, is that any one of those kids had the belief that they had the reason to pull the trigger. And they weren't that shocked that Charlie had done it. They weren't that bothered that Charlie held them up with a gun. Because they put themselves in Charlie's places. Charlie put himself in their places. And it's just an absolute fantastic book. I'm not going to give any spoilers away. It's a fantastic book, and it's a must read. I would imagine more so for anybody in America than anybody in the UK. And that brings me on to my next book. Times of the Now, The Stand. Have either of you read
my favourite?
Stand? Yeah. Well, we all know we went through this, 3 years ago, 2020,
Plague.
Yeah. Anybody can say that there's a lot of buzz with these conspiracy theories that it came out of a laboratory in Wuhan. Yeah. And this is what I couldn't understand at the time. Like, the Center for Disease Control was in Wuhan, where the virus originated, and yet they say it was caused by bats. Somehow I don't think so, but that's just me. Call me a conspiracy theorist if you like. But oh my God, last year my brother had like the 60s music going the whole time we were in Scotland, and this year my mate come with us, and I was thinking, I'm gonna have 60s and 70s music till I'm blue in the face. I mean, I don't know if anybody knows, but Stand is like 40-50 hours long. It's a very big book. It's a very big audiobook. We listened to The Stand all the way around Scotland. We were all hooked. It was like
brilliant.
It was absolutely brilliant. And I am not going to give any spoilers away, but anybody who lived through COVID needs to read The Stand, basically.
Michelle, the memorable character for me, and that is the trash can kid.
Trash can man, yeah,
Yeah, that's the one.
my
Yeah.
God. And it was kind of like, well, why did he wait for Larry? And I'm not
Yeah.
again not giving away any
Spells
spoilers.
moon. Yeah.
Yeah. Little Tommy, you know, MOON spells Tom. No, was it Tommy?
I think so.
It was Tommy, wasn't
Yeah.
it? Yeah.
Spells moon. Yeah.
Spells Tommy. Yeah. Oh my God. We just totally, because you want to know what's going to happen next. It is one of those that you need to keep listening. We get in the car and they'd be like, hurry up, will you get it on? So the Stand was the
Brilliant
book
book.
that we listened to all the way around Scotland. I mean, one of my drives was 9.5 hours from Embo to Dumfries.
Wow. Yeah.
Big old drive. And I think we stopped twice so they could have a cigarette break. And that was it. And it was just the Stand all the way down. And I've got it. I had it on like 1.4, so that we'd finish it before the end of the holiday.
Nice one. Nice one.
That's a brilliant choice.
Yeah, but that's not the only one. I got into the night stories. Is it the night shift stories? So because of course overnight I couldn't read the Stand. I wasn't allowed to. The Stand was only allowed on when we were all in the car together.
Share it.
Yeah. So I started reading the night shift stories, and so far I've got through 9 of them.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to go over the first 3 quickly, and then maybe I'll do 3 next time. But started with not in any particular order, but starting with the boogeyman. Lester Billings attends the psychiatrist's office to unload the tale of how the boogeyman murdered his children. Billings is not a particularly nice man. He has little care for any of the deceased children except for one, Andy. Therefore, it is easy to assume that Billings killed his kids. But did he? Or does the boogeyman really exist? And it's well worth a read. I gave it a 7 out of 10 because I enjoyed it. Going on next to the battleground, well, God knows where he came up with this idea from. An assassin receives a package in the post from his mum. Like, why his mum would send him this, I don't know. And it's a game of toy soldiers, except that the toy soldiers come alive and attack him.
Cool.
It's a strange one.
It was brilliant. Again, I gave that an 8 out of 10 because, it was one of those. I was walking the dog while I was listening to it, and I was like, yeah, we're not going back yet, Belle. I need to hear the end of this. Part 3 is I Know What You Need. And in all honesty, I wasn't a fan of this one. And I honestly can't say that about many of Stephen King's. I really do enjoy Stephen King's. But I'm not really sure what's wrong with a boyfriend who can grant wishes. I'm not sure why a girl wouldn't want a boyfriend who could grant wishes. I know what you want. Unfortunately, Fred, his way of giving her what she needs is paranormal, and she took the hump. And that's about it. So it was the only one out of all of them that didn't, grab me.
Michelle, I found that the early Stephen King stuff is much better. Yeah. Then again, I haven't read any of his for maybe the past 5 years, any of his later stuff. But it's early works for me. Carrie, Salem's Lot, Stand.
Yeah, well, I've not long read Salem's Lot as well, and
that's scary.
And do you remember the movie with the kid tapping on the
window? Yeah, I couldn't sleep for weeks with that.
Exactly.
Light on. Yeah,
exactly.
I've seen it, Steve.
No, I haven't seen it, but I don't know. I don't have problems like that with reading any
Oh,
books.
that is
It doesn't
scary.
bother me, and this
Oh.
non-sleeping or scary. But I know you do, Terry. It really
yeah.
affects you.
Telling you, the face to face with the master, as James Mason says.
Yeah, but again, the masters didn't bother me. The kid did.
Well, you don't expect a teenager to be knocking on your second floor window, flying up there as a vampire, dead in the middle of the night.
No. And I was really young when I watched that, and it really did. I mean, I don't spook easy.
Yeah.
But I can still, Danny, let me in, Danny.
Brilliant.
That's horrible.
Brilliant.
Oh.
And just quickly, I read The Shining as well. Now, that is King at his finest.
Yeah.
And I just, all hail the king, all hail the king. Anyone, everyone, if you're a horror fan, you don't just have to be a horror fan, you have to read The Shining, but I'll talk about that next time.
Okay, I think The Shining, people vote that as probably the best the Stephen King films. We were talking to a writer last week, Chris Watt, screenwriter, and he was telling us about what did he say? Basically, The Shining's about alcoholism. Alcoholism.
Alcoholism. He did, didn't he? Yeah. So,
in the broader sense of the effects that it has on you, strange things. But a brilliant read. I totally agree.
Yeah, and I can see that. I can see that.
No.
But that's pretty much the movie. The book's a whole different ballgame.
Yeah.
Excellent.
The book is told and I said, no, I can suddenly sort of see how Danny Torrance, as a 5-year-old, would see his father's alcoholism as a horror story.
Yeah.
So but it was, I'll go more into that one next time.
Okay. Michelle, as usual, it's been a pleasure talking to you and listening to your reviews, which we always enjoy.
Both of you, thank you. I'm very, very, very glad I can be of some use.
Excellent.
It's always refreshing, Michelle, because you make me laugh as well, because you're so bubbly.
Thank you. I try to be. I mean, have you ever noticed, when somebody's on the TV and they talk monotone and there is no expression?
No words.
Not with us. No.
No, we're all bubbly scousers.
Yeah, he's right. On that note, Michelle, thanks very much, and we'll see you.
Yeah, thanks, Michelle.
We'll see you in a couple of weeks.
We'll see you in about 4 weeks' time.
Yeah, let's keep in touch in the meantime. All right. Cheers, Michelle. Bye now.
Okay, bye-bye.
Enjoy your evening. See you later.
Will do.